Hey, what's going on, traders? This is the watch list video for Monday, May 2nd. I'm showing you the daily on the SPY, and that was an ugly day on Friday for the overall market, especially when you look at Thursday. You had the gap up and a strong close, and on Friday just undid everything from the past week, right? So it feels pretty weak out there. I've been saying it for a while. I think the Dow was down almost 1,000 on Friday. A couple highs from the chat room, though. We had some nice calls in there. NUTX. Let me go to 5-minute candles. Is a recent high flyer, right? So I simply called it long, and it looked like this. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see it better. There's the opening candle. It put in an early high at 844, and then was kind of flagging. And I liked it over 844, mostly because two things. It's a recent high flyer, and the previous day's high, which would have been Thursday's high, was 864, 865, something like that. But basically 20 cents above, and you kind of have a flag break on the intraday. So if you get another 20 cents, then you're breaking the previous day's high, and that can also act as a catalyst. As you can see there, the 844 trigger went up. At the height, went all the way to 1049 without ever coming back to the entry, which was right there. So that was kind of a neat call. Also, a hat tip to Wayne, who called. I didn't type that right. ALLG is what I meant to type, and was already on the overnight list, and he simply called this long, and I'll give you the reason. There's the opening 5-minute candle right there. So in the opening candle, it took out the previous day's high, but it stayed strong, right? It held up pretty strong and had topped out at 13. So you've got, back to the daily, you've got a big mover from Thursday and a possible whole number inflection point. So anyway, Wayne called it over 13 idea, and it looked good on tape, by the way, too. It went pretty quickly right there. So 5, 10, 15, 20, maybe 20 minutes. It went up to 14.69. Again, as a day trader, you understand how much money can be made on that too. So that was a neat little call by Wayne. So there's a couple highlights of long trades using, a series of reasons for the entry, right? That made sense. Stacked catalyst, whole number of inflection points, recent high flyers, all these things combined together to give us, a few reasons for the entry. Even in a weak tape, couple nice calls, all right, on the long side. So anyway, what are we watching? For Monday, DWAC gapped up on Friday and closed pretty close to the high of day. Topped out 53.96. You could probably round that up in your brain to 54. Pretty interesting over 54 on Monday. We'll see. SKHY had the big day on Thursday on really big volume. Look at that, from over 20 million shares to 1.5 million. That's pretty crazy. But anyway, quiet inside day on Friday. Looking for a third day play there. FRGE, very strong recently. Had this big move back here. Then topped out right around 20. Came back down. Again around 20. Again around 20. And is putting in higher lows. So this could break out of that area on Monday. So we're going to watch it for an A+ intraday setup. TPST, again, relative strength compared to the market. Topped out at 4 on Wednesday, broke it briefly on Thursday. Quiet inside day on Friday, but holding up really well in a weak tape. So that one goes on long watch. NUTX, which I already talked about, the call I made in that on Friday. Again, really strong in a weak tape. So topped out on Friday at 1049. On Wednesday at 1051. So it's certainly interesting over the 1050 area, where you've got a couple recent highs. And then, of course, on, Tuesday, you had the big spike to 1381. So that one's pretty interesting. VAX, VAXX, had nice news on Friday. Big volume and a pretty strong close. Let's see, where did it close? Closed it basically slightly under 7 and topped out pretty close to 8. Held up well enough in a weak tape. Definitely going to be a top watch on Monday. Redbox, RDBX, again, one of the strongest stocks out there. We're going to watch that for some kind of follow-through setup. SKYH, kind of obscure, but it was on bounce watch after this big run here, 2 days lower, and then, I want to say 3 days lower, but it didn't give a trigger, I guess a good way to word it. It didn't give a trigger on Friday as a bounce play. I'll show you 5-minute candles. So it opened strong for the first 15 or 20 minutes, pulled back, put in a lower high, sort of had my attention in the afternoon. I really liked it, like back up in this area over the half. Then I thought you might take out the early high, but it didn't matter. Just kind of bled sideways to slightly lower the rest of the day. So we didn't get that afternoon high of day break that we like on bounce plays. So what does that do? It lands it right back on bounce play. Watch the next day. BA, Boeing is just pretty beaten up from 190 down to 150 area. Again, we didn't get a bounce play trigger in that one on Friday, so it goes right back on the bounce play watch. That's BA. VZ is Verizon, which is straight off a cliff for like 5-6 days in a row now. Just going to put it on snap, looking for a snapback bounce. It's not a pretty chart, but as a day trader, at some point, things don't ever go straight down or straight up. At some point, you look for a, kind of a contrarian bounce for a trade, right? I never hold anything overnight, so I'm looking for a day trade in that one. If it gives me an A+ setup, a couple more. I'm going to put Disney back on watch again. It's really beaten up. It hasn't broken a previous day's high since it was over 130. And every day a lower high since then. So I'm just going to put it on snapback bounce. If the overall market catches a bounce, Disney will probably do the same. So we'll see if we get a setup in that. And then lastly, BRO, which has fallen from, in about a week, a little over a week maybe, from 72 down to 62. And you look to the left, and this is an area that has bounced nicely off of in the kind of recent past. All right. So when something gets somewhere to an, kind of an area of support, and it gets there kind of quickly, that's a fairly good recipe for a potential snapback bounce. But I only trade this one too if I get an A+ intraday bounce play setup that we teach. And that's it. I'm going to leave it at that. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday night. I'll see everybody in the chat room on Monday morning.